In the battle for which 90s console would dominate children's living rooms, companies needed to take any edge they could get. Perhaps one of the most infamous and edgiest of edges came in the form of the Super Nintendo's super exclusive graphics mode, Mode 7. Unlike Sega's blast processing, Mode 7 was actually a real thing that existed. This was an optional setting from within the SNES hardware. When activated, it allowed the game's backgrounds to be rotated and scaled in such a way as to create the illusion of depth in 3 dimensions. This feature was utilized in a variety of titles from Pilot Wings to Super Mario World, but was perhaps best shown off in 1990 with the Super Famicom launch title F-Zero. F-Zero was a racing game that used its pseudo 3D graphics to present players with an enhanced sense of speed. Set in a futuristic world of bounty hunters and billionaires, racers were required to navigate their way to the finish line without taking too much damage from deadly traps and sharp corners. Director Kazunobu Shimizu previously worked on a couple of F1 racing games, but saw more success here by subtracting 1 from that concept. Meanwhile, artist Takaya Imamura designed the series' colorful and comic booky vehicles and pilots. The game's look and blazing speed blew people's minds a quarter century ago, setting the benchmark for all high-speed and futuristic racers going forward. Nintendo may not be showing the franchise much love these days, but will be giving it the attention it deserves on today's episode, as we kick into Mode 7 with F-Zero. It's a video game podcast.
Wow.
And there's so much to discuss.
So
One of us knows all about them.
that's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with 2 annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda. From adventure to Zork. We have no life, and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. Bad with games. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
We are bad with games.
What was that?
Just saying we're bad with games.
What? Huh?
Bad. Bad. Bad with the games. How you doing this week?
I apologize for him,
You
listeners.
feeling good?
I don't know what got into him.
Are you feeling okay?
Don't
or
know
what?
what's going on over there.
Respond with yes or no.
I don't even know anymore. I just don't know. I just don't know anymore.
Are you excited
I
for
was
this
I
week's
was
show?
doing good. I was excited. Now I don't know what to make of it.
Doing well, by the way.
No, if I meant that, I would have said it.
Sometimes you don't say what you mean.
That's true.
I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. One of the great quotes of our day. This week
So
on
tell me
Bad with
what-
Games, we are talking about
Thank you.
F-Zero. This is
Did you
a
accidentally have like multiple coffees today or something?
no, a little cocaine.
Okay, that explains it.
This game came out in 1990 originally for the Super Famicom, as well as the Super Nintendo in America a year later. It was a launch title for the Super Nintendo in both Japan and America. So this was, if you had an SNES, this was always on the menu for you. Developed by Nintendo. And this is our first. In season 1 we had a racing games bundle.
Hmm.
Season 2 we did not play any racing games. This is our first episode devoted fully to a single racing game, F-Zero.
Yes.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. It is exciting. We haven't really gotten into racing games. Those are like the two, we dipped our toes in, as you said, with the bundle, but yeah, I mean, like what genres are we missing? We haven't really done much in racing, and we haven't really done much in sports. And outside of that, like we're pretty fleshed out. So I think this is good to get into this genre.
Yeah. We haven't done too many puzzle games.
I guess that's true.
I mean, we've
Yeah, we
only
did Tetris.
yeah, that's one.
Yeah, but that's like a big one, you know? It's like the puzzle game.
Yeah. Well, in order to really talk about this, I think we should get into our first segment this week. We are going to learn the lore of not only ourselves, but also of the game. Learn the lore. It's time to learn the lore, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, F-Zero is a futuristic racing game. It takes place in a future world where they have a new high-speed, dangerous form of racing called F-Zero. And in this game, you choose from one of 4 cars. There are 3 different cups for you to select, with a total of 15 tracks between all 3. And you are attempting to make it to the end and get as high a rank as you possibly can. Now, Will, I know that I don't know if you have F-Zero specific lore, but we have
Mhm.
established on this show that you are a fan of futuristic racing games in general.
Yeah, I do like the idea of them, and one of the few games that I had for my N64 as a kid was Extreme G. So this is a game that was a game that I like a lot, and that is a futuristic, high-speed racing game, right? So
Right.
right, there are a lot of similarities there. Now, F-Zero is not a game that I had ever played before. It is a game I'd heard of. I didn't really know what it looked like? I
Didn't
just knew it
know what it looked
existed.
like.
I mean, like, if you had asked me, like, describe I don't know. I would not have been able to recognize, like, a screenshot of it as being from F-Zero. Um, so, because I don't know if I'd ever seen any gameplay footage, but I did know that it existed. I knew it was an early racing game. I knew that it was a futuristic racing game. Um I knew that it was, or I guess we'll maybe we'll talk about it, but I had been under the impression that it was a fairly difficult game. Um and let's see. I had heard the Mute City theme before, and I of course knew the character of Captain Falcon. Um so I think that covers what I knew about this game going into it, which is more than for some of these games.
Mute City, but not uh what's the other one? Isn't Big Blue in this game? Is it Big Blue or
Oh,
is that a later one?
maybe I'd heard Big Blue as well before. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can't remember. And I already forgot which tracks are in this game.
I
That's
I
how
might
good
have
I am at my
I
job.
might have I might have, yeah. I mean, I also might have just I knew Mute City was a place, so I might be confusing
Yeah.
which one's which.
I feel like
But
there's
yes, I had heard of Mute City.
I think there's 2
Mhm.
songs in this game that are, to me, oh, those are the really iconic F-Zero songs.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, I gather you know about Captain Falcon because of Super Smash Brothers.
Yes. Yeah, I did not know about it because of F-Zero. I knew he was from F-Zero. Um, I didn't know whether I couldn't imagine how the Falcon Punch could be from F-Zero, but I wasn't 100% sure if it was or if it was a Smash original. Now I'm pretty sure it's a Smash original. I'll just say we don't do any punching in here. But
Yes.
maybe it's not. There's weird comic book shit in like we'll get to it in the manual. Maybe somebody made it up first. But yeah, like these are all things that I was aware of, but I had never played the game, nor had I ever seen the game played.
I what's weird is that probably a lot of people only know Captain Falcon from Super Smash Brothers. because that game's popularity far eclipses the popularity of
Yeah.
F-Zero. And Nintendo did do this F-Zero 99 thing a year or two ago, which is still ongoing, which is this free online game if you're a Switch member, that is it's basically takes the Super Nintendo framework and it turns it into like a battle royale where there's 99 players at a time.
Okay. I was gonna say, is this like that like Tetris 99 or whatever thing that
Yeah,
you're racing? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They did this for a few different games over time. And but other than that, there has not been an F-Zero game since the GameCube era. Maybe Game Boy
But
Advance
that was
the
only a
last
couple
one.
years ago, right?
Yeah, that was like 5 years ago.
Okay. Just checking here.
So this
I
is
didn't wanna think I was old.
this is like one of the biggest franchise that's in terms of anytime there's a Nintendo presentation or anytime you ask like Nintendo fans what they want to see, it's almost like a running joke of wanting an F-Zero game because it's just hasn't happened in so long, and they just really kind of neglect this franchise in a big way. So there's a lot of people who probably just have never played a game just like you unless they grew up with one of these. For me, I didn't really grow up with this. My first exposure to F-Zero came in the Game Boy Advance game Maximum Velocity, which is very similar in its look and play style to the Super Nintendo version. So it's not a remake. I'm pretty sure all the tracks are new and the cars are different and stuff like that. There's different things in it. But if like going back to when I eventually played the Super Nintendo version after that, it felt like, oh, I know what this is. It's similar enough that it's not like, whoa, this is a weird thing. It's pretty close. The Game Boy Advance was basically a portable Super Nintendo in terms of its hardware power. And there's F-Zero X on the N64 and F-Zero GX on the GameCube was the other one that I was a huge fan of. And again, pretty much the last one. It didn't really make. Like I said, I think there was a couple more in the Game Boy Advance that maybe came out after the GameCube game. There was like an anime that tied into one of those games, but nobody really. They just didn't make a big mark, I don't think, even with F-Zero fans. But here we are today going back to the Super Nintendo original. And we are going to be discussing our experiences with the game this week. By the way, if you haven't already, you can watch this week's game over at YouTube at Bad With Games. Or, of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames. $5 a month to get our Discord channel, early video access, plus bonus audio podcasts every week about different topics, and you'll feel better about yourself and you'll have a good life. All right, before we start getting into the rest of the show, though, we got to break down some box art.
Yes.
Box art breakdown, we're breaking it down.
You got to stop
Love me
talking
some
over
box art.
the music.
No.
You
No,
gotta,
you can just cut that if you don't like it.
No, you just need to I'm going to get in there quick, so you just got to be ready and wait, because you know that's going to come.
It's fine.
I don't want to hear the peanut gallery's fucking
No, it's good.
quips.
No, it's good.
We are looking at the Super Nintendo box art for the game F-Zero, which depicts Captain Falcon in his blue Falcon speeding towards the corner of the box. He's actually overlapping the border of the image, so it looks like he's almost like a 3D effect racing off of the box art itself. And behind him, Samurai Goro has just come up off a jump, and he's in the air trying to catch up, and it says F-Zero in big letters. And you can see in the background a crazy purple Jetsons city of some kind. This is one of those box arts that I must say I never really examined very closely until now. And when you blow it up and look at the details of the pilots and what's going on, it's a little weird.
It is a little weird. I mean, I do look at it. I mean, listen, I see two racers that are both in the game, right? They are depicted as they are in the game. It does look speedy. It's in a futuristic world. Not all box arts it can say that they accurately depict what's in the game. This one does at least do that for sure.
That's true. That's true. That's very true.
It's true.
I don't know about the F-Zero logo itself. It's kind of, it looks very, are they going for like a Mad Max thing? Why is it so jagged edges and shit?
Yeah, it's like just really like fucked up and busted metal, right? Like it's gotten in a bunch of crashes or something. Like I appreciate what they're going for. It's got this nice like red into blue gradient. Like I get I get the like blocky, we've been in a crash metallic things, but I don't know. It feels like maybe it's not the right direction, Like maybe this would be better if it were like more realistic cars getting into crashes. Like, does it feel sci-fi enough to you?
I don't know. It's weird. I don't feel like they really went with that later on. I feel like the best move is more of a, it should look more professional. It should look like an F1 logo would look in real life. Like it should be smooth and, almost as if you were in this universe, what would the poster for the F-Zero race look like? But in the 90s, they probably said it would look like this because it was the 90s and they wanted to be extreme.
No, I like the idea of like making it like the F1 formula, but just barely legally distinct, and then maybe make it a little bit more neon or something, because it is supposed to be. It says right here, the race of the 26th century. So like it should be futuristic. Yeah, no, I do agree. This is not what the logo of this race looks like for sure in universe.
My biggest issue with it is that there is, of course, a hyphen between F and 0. And the hyphen in this font is vertical? It's a vertical line? What the fuck is that about?
There's nonsense. Not a hyphen in Formula 1.
But really? I feel like I see F1 with a hyphen. Am I wrong?
I don't think it's supposed to have one. Maybe, I mean, listen, I'm not a real life racing guy. I don't know for sure. I don't even know why it's called Formula 1.
You are right.
But
yeah, you are right. At least I Googled the movie, and yeah, it's just F1 with no hyphen.
Let's see. I'm on the Wikipedia for Formula 1.
Yeah, Formula 1.
Why is it called Formula 1?
Because it's the first formula they came up with.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to figure this out now.
The formula is a set of rules all participants' cars must follow.
Okay.
And it was the first one.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No. I guess that makes. If by formula you mean a set of rules, maybe that's. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's some weird word because it's from. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't
matter. Why are you trying to figure this out? Nobody gives a fuck. We're talking about F-Zero, which is way cooler than F1.
Right. It's
I like that
higher or
it's
lower.
way better that they added a hyphen, and I like that it's always spelled out. It's not the number 0, it's the word 0. I think that's important. If it was just an F and the number 0, I would be like, what is that? I'd also be like, faux? What is that? I think they made the right call. I feel like this box art, the art style almost has a quality of looking like a paper diorama or something, if that makes sense. Like it's just an illustration, but there's something about the way the characters look. They have these their heads are very round and they almost look kind of proportionally small and squished to fit into their vehicles, I think. And something about the way the cars almost look like they're pseudo 3D, just like the game, I suppose. And I don't know, I'm picturing like a paper craft, like if you like they almost like they took a photograph of like a paper craft creation diorama. I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe I get from it.
Is it supposed to give you like vibes of like 50s or 60s like pop art Flash Gordon style
or like Speed
thing?
Racer even?
Yeah, like kind of. I think Speed Racer's a little more crude in its designs, but like maybe like in promotional material for it or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I do like this little Captain Falcon. He looks very goofy.
He
Like
looks
he
kind of
does.
dumb. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
I
don't
like that.
I don't really it's funny, but it does I don't think it looks like Captain Falcon really.
No, it doesn't. Listen, if Captain Falcon were in a lot of games and I were super attached to him, but like, I'm willing to say like, okay, Captain Falcon, he's in Smash and he's pretty cool there, and this is like the other version where he's goofy. This is like old Sonic or something.
He doesn't have to be like he can be goofy. I just think he looks stupid.
Yeah, no, I like that's
No,
what
he
yeah,
shouldn't look stupid. He should look cool. He's
it's
wearing
fun.
his jacket is black. That's wrong. It should be blue.
That's true. I mean, I guess I was reading that as like a dark blue and then there's shadow, but I don't know. Whatever.
Samurai Goro looks pretty good behind him.
Yeah, Samurai Goro does not look as dumb as he does for sure.
Oh,
But nobody knows who Samurai Goro is.
We should transition from here to the instruction manual here.
I think that's a good idea.
Like a big part of F-Zero is the setting and the universe that this takes place in. And I'll summarize from the introduction in the manual, which says that, as you said on the box, this is the 26th century. It's 2560. And we have discovered aliens at this point. So humans and aliens are just, hanging out together. That's the way of the world. And there's multi-billionaires. I like how they couldn't conceive of trillionaires.
Yeah, no. Wow, multi-billionaires? Crazy. Can't even believe it.
Holy
That's very
shit.
Wow.
What a thing. And they are like, we're bored. Let's come up with a new form of entertainment. And they develop F-Zero. And they even name drop F1 in here with a hyphen, by the way. So I wonder if it's a thing like how, WWE versus WWF. Maybe at some point, maybe they did used to have a hyphen and they changed it or something.
They probably just got it wrong in this.
No, I think this is right. New Mandela effect just dropped. Anyway. So they come up with F-Zero, and the whole thing is that they make it extremely dangerous because it's more thrilling to watch, so that the racers could die at any moment. And also in this futuristic world, there's bounty hunters. I'm trying to think of what it's. I mean, I realized while reading the comic in here, which we'll talk about, that Captain Falcon is basically just Judge Dredd. Which had never really occurred to me before until I read this, and I was like, wow, it's really obvious now. They just pretty much just ripped Judge Dredd right out. But that feels like the closest analog for what this world is like. And yeah, there is an 8-page comic included in the manual that introduces you to this world and characters.
Yeah.
And I know you got a kick out of this thing.
It is pretty funny. I don't know that the comic is as interesting when you actually read it, but the fact that there is just a full it's at least half a dozen pages of just like comic book style, like whatever. Captain Falcon is like beating up bad guys because he wants to collect their bounties, and Samurai Goro's like, you're hunting bounties on my turf, and Captain Falcon's like, haha, I'm the greatest bounty hunter and the greatest racer, screw you, I hunt whatever bounties I want. And then they start a race. It's it's pretty entertaining that it exists in here and takes up so much of the manual.
I have to say that I think F-Zero might have one of the best backstories and universes for a video game that basically doesn't have a story at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was thinking watching this game or playing this game, I was like, yeah, I mean, you can't do it at the time, really, and that's why you need the manual, but like F-Zero is kind of crying out for a remake, literally just so you can stick cutscenes in between the races. Like, how do you not, like, just to be like, and then Captain Falcon punches somebody next race? Like, God, how great would that be just to get like a 5-second clip of that or something? I don't even know.
Well,
It'd be good.
F-Zero GX has a story mode,
Okay.
and it basically does that. You have cutscenes, and they actually tell you why are you racing, and you're going after Samurai Goro, and all this kind of stuff all comes into play. So they did
Pico,
get
the
there
bounty
eventually.
hunter.
Yeah, all these characters are
Yeah.
in there.
And like even the background, like because it's this comic book style, you get like these weird mob bosses and his henchmen. You get like all these other racers who aren't playable characters or named. There's this weird announcer guy with like a half helmet. Like it's like he's wearing like a helmet, like a pilot's helmet with like goggles in front, except the top of it is 3/4 open so that his like green mohawk or like half shaved head, his green hair can come out. Like these guys are great, and he's wearing a suit. I want to see these guys.
Yeah, he's he looks like a sort of a Max Headroom with like a visor and green hair.
Yes, he does look like that.
Yeah, he is weird. He is cool. Yeah, I love all these characters. Like you said, Pico de Gallo or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Pico's great.
The Golden Fox guy. They're
that
good.
Stewart, Dr.
Yeah,
Stewart.
yeah, Dr. Stewart. That's right.
Dressed
they're
like
fun.
Wolverine, but he's like very like prissy and like I'm the best racer.
And this is this guy Takaya Imamura did all the designs and art for this game as well as for Star Fox. And I think he also did some he's like a manga artist. He has some cool ideas. And I'm into it. I think these are all sick.
It does kind of make me think. You said there was like a show that nobody liked. Maybe we should watch that.
Yeah, I have never watched I don't know if anyone liked it. I just know it, didn't make a big splash.
Yeah. Maybe it's bad.
I mean, it can't be like great.
Yeah, no, it would have a cult. I would have heard of it having a cult following if it was great. People would be like, yeah, the Captain Falcon show or something.
I really don't know. But in this game, when you sit down and play it, if you didn't read this manual or the back of the box, you'd have no concept that any of this stuff is happening.
No. There's no mention or depiction of any of these racers, just their vehicles.
That's right. And no, you're like, I don't know, is this the future? I guess, because like the cars are science fiction, but
futuristic-y background, sorta. I mean, it's not the present or the past, right? Maybe it's just alien present.
Yeah, or it could just be an alternate universe, or it could just be, hey, what if some scientist made this car, or it could be there's nothing. We just made a cool car. Why do you need something? Go forward. It doesn't matter. So it is just very funny. I wonder exactly, like, at what point. I don't know. Why did they put? I think it's just this guy. Like I said, Imamura he just couldn't help but come up with really cool designs for a game that didn't really ask for them, and they were like, "Oh, I guess we put these in there somewhere."
Yeah.
It's
just
cool.
have a resident artist hanging out in the studio, and every once in a while he shows up. Like, I made a bunch of designs for one of your games. Oh, okay, put them in.
That's right. All right, so let's get into the game proper now. F-Zero, like we said, there's 3 cups. Each cup has 5 courses. You pick from 1 of 4 cars. It's pretty simple. There's not a lot going on in this game in terms of modes or options or things like that. You being a guy who... What's that?
I was going to say, there are some modes here.
Okay.
I was a little confused by what they meant, honestly, in the manual when they described them.
All right.
But...
You being a
Whatever,
guy
we'll talk about it.
who has familiarity with racing games, the closest we've played to this on the show would be Rad Racer, right? In terms of like that type of perspective. I guess Outrun is similar, but...
Yeah.
But I think, this one, obviously there's some big differences. Maybe the biggest one to me is I feel like you have a lot more freedom to move around the track. Whereas in like Rad Racer and Outrun, it's a little more, you can go left and right, but it's not exactly, it feels more linear. Here it's like you can really like the angle of your car can change. You could like bump into walls and turn around and all kinds of stuff. When you
Mhm.
sat down and played this, did you feel like, oh, this is a racing game, I like basically get it, or was there more of a learning hurdle for you?
So in some ways I was like, this is a racing game and I basically get it. But there was still a major learning hurdle for two reasons. One being that, even the other racing games we played, I think Rad Racer was this way, but the other two, Outrun and what's it called?
Not
I don't
Excite
even
Bike.
remember. Whatever, but those are
Rally,
arcade
the
games.
old one, the
So, because
Rally
they're arcade games, they
pole
would use a
position.
joystick. Pole position, yeah. And because they're using a joystick, I would be just using the analog stick on it, right?
Mm.
So this one, being on the SNES, is using the D-pad. And I probably brought this up last time, but it was a lot more of a concern here because this is the only game, and because I think so much more goes into the control of your car. It is like, I did know basically what I needed to do, but using the D-pad to steer is nowhere near as intuitive, right? Because with the analog stick, I can kind of say like, oh, I need to move it in angle, so like I need to steer a little bit to the right, so I need to move the stick a little bit to the right, and there's like a direct comparison there. Whereas with the D-pad, I can go left or right, and that's it. So if I need to go a little bit, that's just a timing issue, right? It's just how long do I hold the D-pad in order to get that kind of deflection. And that was a little bit weird. That took me quite some getting used. Like I did get used to it, but it took me quite some time to really get used to it in terms of like not just dramatically overshooting or undershooting my turns. Um so that was the first thing that was a bit of a learning curve. And the second thing is that, and I don't know if you had this feeling as well, but a huge part of this is that um the turning in particular in this game is very like intense. There's a lot of sort of different ways to turn. Like, okay, am I just using the D-pad? Am I using the D-pad and leaning? Do I need to take off the accelerator and then put it back on? Do I need to actively brake and then go back on the accelerator? And like all of these would be in different amounts and at different timings for different turns. And a lot of the tracks are fairly intense, right? Like, you are almost never doing hairpin turns in like Rad Racer or these other games, but in this game there are a lot of times where you might need to do like this like S hairpin turn, boom boom, back to back in a row, and you can't really drop off speed, but it's very hard to do without dropping off speed unless you're controlling it. So um I found that there was also a learning curve just in terms of like figuring out how to do that. And also, it felt to me like a lot of times you kind of had to learn the course almost more than you had to learn how to race. And maybe that's because the racing part was more intuitive to me, but it's just kind of like I sort of need to know what's coming up because I need to do these very specific things on these very specific turns in a way where I can't just be like, oh, the track's turning, time to turn. Or, oh, there's a guy in front of me, I'll deal with him in this way. It's like, oh no, I'm going to need to go boom into boom into boom into boom to get through here, okay? And I kind of, if I'm not setting that up, I'm going to be in trouble. I don't know if you had a similar experience.
Yeah, well, first I'll say, so like I said, my first exposure to this was the Game Boy Advance version, which also is only a D-pad. So I don't, maybe that kind of maybe because I played it in that era and I was
Hmm.
like, well, yeah, of course, how else would I play this game? There is nothing but a
Right.
D-pad. It does kind of make sense to me. I think the way it helps to make it make sense is it may not be immediately as intuitive versus a joystick, but I do think it can be more, it gives you more precision because uh like in terms of how long do you press the D-pad, for me I'll usually just do like a tap, like tap left, tap right, tap tap tap, okay, now I'm where I need to be. And I feel like that allows me to be more precise than a joystick. I'm a little more like how far exactly am I pushing it? It feels like there's more of room there to
Mm.
overshoot or undershoot what I'm trying to do versus a digital button press in a sense.
Interesting. That feels, to me, it feels more intuitive to know the exact position of my thumb than to know the timing of my thumb on the button. And this could just have to do again with you being more of a gamer than me, where I'm just like, I don't know, I either pressed it or I didn't. What do you mean the timing of the button? That's just not like a thing I think about. Whereas the idea of like, yes, put your thumb there and hold it is something that's like, okay, that I get. So,
Yeah.
because to me that feels less intuitive in terms of precision.
Well,
But
it's
I
more like
don't.
a
Yeah.
steering wheel, right? I- It's closer to a real car than
In a steering wheel, I would put the wheel in the position I want it to be. I wouldn't like jerk it and
yeah.
then jerk it and then jerk it.
But it's
Yeah.
but a joystick is, I'm just saying, it's like closer than a D-pad. It's your, if you
Yeah.
had to compare
Oh,
one
I
to a
see.
wheel. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Yes. I thought you were saying the opposite, and I was like, huh? Okay. No. 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 I
Yeah, yeah.
agree with you. Yeah.
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 I mean, the other thing about turning is you do have the L and R buttons in this
Hmm.
game, and those can be used as you to like, I don't even know how to
Yes.
phrase it. They sort of turn your car without turning your car. It's like you're, when you
It's
lean into a turn or something.
Yeah. Literally in the game it is supposed to be you shift your weight inside the car to make the car like drift to that side. So it makes
Yeah.
your turns a lot sharper. But I also did discover that if you need to make very slight turns over a decent distance, you can like drift over to one side or the other by just pressing L and R and holding it rather than and
Mm-hmm.
not touching the D-pad at all.
Yeah, totally.
Like yeah, so like this was like I said, there was a learning curve to this, but it wasn't like it didn't feel impossible. It didn't feel like I just can't wrap my head around it at all. It just felt like, oh, this is very unintuitive and I need to figure it out kind of from scratch. But because I only had to figure out the controls. In that sense, because I've done a number of racing games, I at least knew like where like I was able to visualize like I need my car to go through that line and that means I need it to be in this position at this time and it's just a matter of controlling it, which is not always the case. Sometimes in video games I'm like I'm trying to figure out how to put my character somewhere and also trying to figure out where I need to be and then it's just a shit show.
Right.
So
I've seen that happen before.
yeah.
Familiar with that. In terms of what you were saying about, yeah, I do think more than your average racing game, at least, this is definitely a game that rewards repeated play of tracks to quote
Mhm.
unquote learn the track. Uh, Now for me, I mean, I have played this before, and there is more. Even if I don't remember the specific tracks, I think I have a little bit more at just F-Zero knowledge built into my DNA at this point,
Mhm.
that I am able to decently well like anticipate even the first time on a course and see up ahead, okay, that's a
Mhm.
turn, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. But there's definitely I hit a few walls where I was like, okay, this track all of a sudden
Yeah.
is, oh, I gotta do this a few times because this one I'm dying on, I gotta really figure it out.
Yeah. I did notice that by the end of my play, I was starting to be able to, if I hit a new track, I could look at the map in the corner. Cause like, it was too much focus trying to control it. So I was just like, I just need to know what I need to do already. But as I started to get better, I was able to kind of look in the corner and say, oh, I can see, because they show you a mini map of the track and where you are on it. I could say like, okay, I don't know exactly where I need to be or what it's going to look like, but I can kind of see there's a big turn coming up, so I should be prepared for that. So I could imagine if I put a lot more time into this, I would have a lot more ability to react to a track as it came up because they do give you the information, sort of.
Let me tell you, I never look at that mini map ever. I'm way
I,
too
mm,
locked. Like, I'm way too locked into my focus can only be on like what's in front of
mm.
me in my car, or I'm scared I will fuck up.
I feel that. That was the mini map was useful for two things. One, if I hadn't played a track before and I just needed to know like where are the nasty parts. And two, if I hadn't played a track enough and I was trying to figure out, so you get S boosts, right? Little things that give you a short boost in speed. But if you use them in the wrong section, you're just going to crash into a turn. So there would be times where I would say like, okay, where the hell can you even do that in this track? I tried it here and crashed. I tried it here and crashed, and I don't even know. Okay, wait a second. It seems like there's straightaways here and here, so I should be using it on one of those two places or something like that. So I would kind of like
Yeah,
glance over there to preemptively plan my route. Um, and sometimes there just aren't places, right? Like sometimes they're just like that is something. So one of the things about this game also that I think is worth noting, it's not just that the tracks are like the steering is complicated and you might crash into the border. You also have a shield or something, or health, I guess you'd call
energy.
it.
I believe it's
Sure.
energy. Yeah.
And if you crash into the sides, you lose some energy. If you crash into another racer, you lose some energy. There are sometimes traps and mines that make you lose energy. If you get too low on energy, your top speed, I think, is reduced.
hmm
And if you run all the way out, you blow up. So at the beginning of each track, there's a section you can go into for a pit stop, and the longer you stay in it, the more energy you get back. So it's one of those things where this, on some tracks I found the only really good place to use your S boost is at that straightaway at the beginning of a
Yeah.
track. But if you do that, then you can't spend very much time in the pit stop because you're going so fast. So like you might be in a position where you're like, I took too much damage, so I have to slow down here to restore some, but then where am I going to boost to get back up? And that's not always the case, but on some track, there are some tracks that are just a nightmare. It did feel like a lot of this game was figuring out, like, how the heck do you drive through this track without just coming to a stop every minute or two to re-heal up or something.
Yeah, I think other than the speed itself and the
Mhm.
setting, that the defining characteristic of what makes F-Zero different from other racing games is the fact that your car has its own health system. And
Yeah.
that you can, like you said, take damage, blow up, and you have this decision every time you finish a lap. You have to gauge, what is my energy level at? Do I
Mhm.
need to top it off? Is it worth going over there? Can I get away with not doing it and using my boost, or just staying here so that nobody can pass me? Should I, or do I even need to slow down because I'm really dying? What is worth that to get my top speed and also to ensure that I don't die? And that's a
Yeah.
really interesting decision to have to make every single lap, that you're always thinking of. And especially considering that it affects your top speed, that
Mhm.
strategy is something that I think really makes F-Zero to me more interesting than a lot of racing games where it is just strictly get out in front
Yeah.
of the guy and that's it.
Yeah. Now the Extreme G games that I played had a shield because you like shoot missiles and stuff at each other. So in that game you have a shield, and if the lower the shield is, the more things will bring you to a stop. So like if I crash into the side or if I get hit with a missile, it lowers my shield, and the lower my shield was when it hit me, the more I'll slow down. So if you run out of shield, you're coming to like a dead stop every time you bump into the wall at all. Um, but you never crash and just lose. And there's a lot more ways to just kind of restore it. Like you are expected to be in open combat that whole time. Whereas in this, there's a lot more. It feels in this like a lot more resource management, because you can't, like I said, you can't die, but you also can't really slow down. I did find that for my own, so there are 4 racers you get, and they all have different stats. And I did find that for my purposes, the one with the lower top speed and the really high shield was best for me. I generally found that I kind of said top speed doesn't matter that much, because if you can consistently maintain your top speed without slowing down, you're probably fine on everything other than expert difficulty, right? Like, even if your top speed is low, the real issue that you're going to run into is when you're just getting other racers are slamming you into the walls, or you just miss the stupid turn and take a bunch of damage, or you screw something up. Because a lot of times I found myself with the more frail racers in positions where I had to think, like, I can take this slower and not take any damage, or I can go really fast and risk like clipping a wall, and that's still going to be faster. It's fine, but I don't have the health to make that decision. And so, like, I just have to go slower, and then I have to slow down again. So I just kind of said, like, the slower machine that can just always tank it, and, maybe I drift over to the side, lose like a teensy bit of time to drift over the side, get 5% of my health back per lap is going to be more than enough. I don't need to like slow down to get things back. For me, that was what worked. I don't know if you preferred the faster ones or the like better accelerating and turning ones that were frailer, or what exactly you liked.
Is in a typical racing game, my usual strategy is handling above everything else.
Hmm.
I want to be able to make corners and not have to bump into a wall. I'm always
Hmm.
like, what has the best handling? It's like that's all I care about mostly. In this game, I started with Captain Falcon just because that's like your
Hmm.
standard thing,
Yeah.
and then I got through the first cup fine. And I was like, okay, cool. Second cup, I got to I hit a wall with a certain track that I died
Okay.
on.
When you say second cup, do you mean like the okay, so
There's
there's
three
three
cups.
there's Knight, Queen, and King, and
Right.
those give you different race courses that you have to drive through. And then each one of them you can play on beginner,
Mhm.
standard, or expert.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when you say cup, you mean Knight versus Queen and not like standard versus expert or something like that.
Correct. I guess I don't
Okay.
in this. I guess they call them leagues in this game. I don't know. Like Mario
Okay.
Kart. I'm thinking like a lot of
Right.
racing games. They'll say a cup. So that's just
Okay. I figured
what
that's
I
what
say.
you meant. I'm just being clarifying it because it's I was confused at first. I didn't know because they were saying, "Oh, Knight's easy and Queen's harder and King's the hardest and beginner's easy," and I was like, "What?" Because they didn't. It was weird, but then I figured it out what they meant. Yeah,
I
they mean
see.
cups, I guess,
Yeah.
is what they mean.
Yeah. That's what they mean. So anyway, I mean, I played on. I just did standard for everything. And so like I said, so then I was like, let me play around with the other vehicles and see if I like them better. Because I remembered in the Game Boy Advance one, I feel like I liked the Golden Fox a lot. And I thought I remembered Golden Fox having the best turning. But in this game, I think it specifically tells you that it doesn't.
Really? It felt to me like the Golden Fox had the best turning and acceleration, but not amazing top speed and really bad shields when I was trying to play it.
The manuals, I mean, they show you the stats, and I just don't pay attention to understand them. But it says give priority to acceleration, makes it difficult to strike a good balance between turning and engine power, resulting in difficult cornering. That's what they
Oh,
say.
interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I found that when I tried it, it felt like it made turns much better than the Blue Falcon and the what's Pico's, the Wild Goose, the one that I tended to use.
Then
So
I
maybe
don't know what to tell
I don't
you.
know. I
But
don't know. It felt maybe I just didn't get good. Maybe it made the corners really fast, but didn't get the good speed or something.
don't know. Don't know. But I tried all three of them on the second cup, the Queen, and I just was like, none of these. I died with all three of them. I didn't really feel good with them. I just went back to Blue Falcon, which I kind of felt like, oh, is this like the lame choice because it's your kind of average all around one, and it's not a cool specialized one, but it was just the only one that I felt good with. I don't know if it's just because I started with it and I already kind of got used to playing with it, so I didn't take the time to make little adjustments to get good with the other ones. I have read online that people think that Golden Fox is all around like the shittiest car. And I think I have read that
believe it.
on the higher difficulties, there's some tracks where it's like borderline impossible to actually do it with him. And also I think it sounds like maybe people will see from our footage, or you'll tell us. It sounds like maybe I was not taking as much damage on average as you might have been, so the
Oh, yeah.
higher damage didn't factor in as much for me.
Yeah, oh yeah, I liked the Wild Goose because I take tons of damage on these things. I find it very hard to like there are a lot of these tracks where I find it very hard to take the corners without losing speed, right? Like the turning in this is complicated and weird in a way, like it has more components to it than I am used to, and I'm often not ready for what's coming, and so I'm getting smashed around a lot. I'm taking shitloads of damage when I play this game.
So it's interesting that you say you talk about taking corners without losing speed. F-Zero is another way this is different from a lot of racing games that I play. At least, I'm mainly playing arcade racing games, not literal arcade, but I'm not playing Gran Turismo. I'm playing stuff like this. I'm playing silly make-believe racing games, right? That's my frame of reference. And in a lot of these games, like think about Mario Kart as a good example, my finger's on the gas 100% of the time. It's never coming off that gas.
Right.
In F-Zero, that's not the case. When there's a lot of these sharp corners, I am almost always, when I take a turn that's at all a little sharp, my finger's coming off the gas. And sometimes I even brake around the corner.
Yeah. This is the only racing game I've ever braked in. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Like ever. I was all like, I was reading the manual and I was just like, I don't need the brake button. Who needs it? And as I was discovering, I was like, the vast majority of turns I can make by like even the extensive ones, right? Like I can finger off the gas, lean in, and then back on the gas when my nose is pointed in the right direction. But sometimes you got to brake.
Yes. I hate to keep bringing up the Game Boy Advance version, which we're not covering today. It's been a long time since I've played it, but I remember in that one, there was a different thing where maybe it was the shoulder buttons and not the brake, but I remember like there was a rhythm you would get to turning a corner where I would tap the brake repeatedly to kind of like slow myself. That really, I'd always felt very satisfying to do. But even in this game, I think you get a rhythm down of, okay, turn, like lean into it, hold that shoulder button that you need to hold, finger off for 1 second, and then like as soon as you're back on the straightaway, boom, hit that gas again to make sure you don't get left too far behind.
Yeah, no, I found that like that rhythm is not that hard to get into on practice mode, but as soon as there were like a million cars also slamming me around, and I sometimes midway through the turn ended up not where I expected to be, I did find that it could be a little bit difficult to maintain. Like the rhythm is just new to me. Like this is it's a weird way of doing corners that I'm not that used to, and it was odd to get into, which is probably why I was slamming around more than you. Yeah, when I say taking corners without losing speed, I don't mean like you can take the max speed. You can't. What I mean by that is that if I wanted to take these corners safely, so as I would always, like, I would never hit the wall and it would be easy, I would find that even on the easiest difficulties, all the other cars would just zip past me. But if I was very clever about it, if I was like perfect in my execution, or if I sometimes just allowed myself to bounce and say like, we're not going to take it perfectly, I'm going to take it at a higher speed, not quite do it, hit the wall, take some damage, I can keep up with these cars on the corners, right? So like it's not a question of like maintain perfect speed. It's a question of you're going to have to lose some speed. But if you play too cautiously, you'll lose too much speed and you'll just lose, right? So the question is like, how aggressively do I want to maintain my speed?
Yeah, I think there's maybe a difference in both play style, but also probably in the cars that we chose. Because I almost felt like the other way, that I would usually rather lose a little speed and get it back up than take a hit if I could help it.
Yeah. Well, I did start with the Blue Falcon. I found that I did better with the Wild Goose specifically because it worked well with that play style. So I was like, okay, cool. This is, you know what? This is good. I was sick of other cars aggressively bumping into me, and I was like, I want to aggressively bump into other cars. Like I want them to come out the loser in that scenario if they're bumping into me. Right. So, and then it also worked for these cornering strategies and all these other things. So
now, beginning in F-Zero X on the N64, they lean into some of this stuff harder, and you actually have an attack button. And when you're next to someone else's car, you can do a little spin move and hit them to the side, which I think is a great addition. But here you can bump a car and you might be able to slam them into a wall and fuck with them and pass them. But that is one thing about the CPU in this game. I feel like they are a little bit too perfect for my liking. I don't know that do they ever go
Yeah.
to the pit stop? I don't think they do. I think they just basically, other than what you do to them, if left to their own devices, they will just play through a course more or less perfectly every time.
Yeah.
But they'll still do, there's kind of a rubber banding thing where it's like, okay, that one ahead of you might slow down somehow so that you can try to
Yeah.
pass it, that kind of thing. But
I did find that the game probably needed more catch-up mechanics. Like, as somebody who mostly, like, I loved Extreme G as a kid, and I've been made to play a decent amount of Mario Kart, there is something to be said for, like, having shells. Like, this does give you the S-Jet boosters and things like that. But there is something to be said for saying, like, if I'm ahead, then people behind me can shoot me. And if I'm behind, I can shoot people ahead. So there is some level of, like, because I did often find that, like, the catch-up mechanic is just play the course better. If you can't play the course better, like, I sometimes did find that it was very difficult to make up more than, like, one place per lap, maybe two places per lap. So if you ever screwed up and just said, oops, I crashed and lost 5 places, you almost might as well give up at that point, because, like, it's going to take you multiple laps just to catch up what you lost there. And so if you weren't already in first, what are you going to do? And I did, and, like, maybe that's just me not being good enough, but I do agree with you that the NPCs are far too perfect. Like, I found the degree to which I couldn't make mistakes on beginner was a little bit crazy, right? Like on beginner, that should be the level where, like, I can fuck up a little bit and it's fine, because I don't need to take the course too fast because the NPCs aren't that good. In fact, so I'll tell you this. When I first tried the night course, I got to the final course, Silence, which, for my money, is the hardest course that I ran into ever on any of these tracks.
did you get to all of them?
Not quite all of them. I did not quite beat King. I got to, like, 4 out of 5 on King, but I didn't get to 5 out of 5 on King.
Night is the first Grand Prix set, the first league, right?
Yes, the first league. The final course on the first league I found to be harder than any of them on Queen and any of the first 4 on King.
Okay, was not my experience, but
yeah. I mean, to be fair, that is the one that is very much so specifically about, it's all these really sharp right turn angles in close proximity, almost no straightaways to use your S boost. So you have to do a lot of perfect turning, and you don't have a lot of straightaways to make up the difference if you fuck those up. Whereas the ones that had more jumps and traps were like, oh, I just got to avoid those. That was a little bit easier.
I was, as I was playing, when I started getting to the areas where there are jumps, so there's on the tracks, there's speed boosts, and there's also things that when you hit them, you'll fly in the air. And this is another F-Zero-ism where you can tilt your car forward and down so that when you land, you don't take any damage, which I think is another very satisfying little touch. But I started getting more of those jumps, and I was like, oh no, is this a platforming racer? Is this going to be the bane of his existence? This stuff?
I actually didn't have too many problems with that. There was one jump, I think, I don't even know if I have footage of me doing it or not, but there was one jump in King where you can, like, the track goes over to the right and then comes back, and you can jump. If you jump it, you can avoid going over there, and it's intentional. Like, if you jump far enough, you can hit another bounce platform and bounce back on the track. And I was generally able to not just take that jump, but gauge midair. Am I going to make this and land on the jump pad? And if not, correct my course midair to angle over to the right and only cut off part of it. I was able to do that without too much trouble.
Yeah, because if you mess up,
decision,
if you land outside the track, that's it.
You're
you
just
are dead.
Yeah, it's
so
over.
It can be very punishing in that regard.
Yeah.
And
no, it can be for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was silence that was so bad. The it was funny because so I was like, I know this game's supposed to be hard, so I was like easiest league on beginner, right? And I got to silence, couldn't finish the track, right? Like either I would take it too slowly and carefully and they would just beat me, or I would go too fast and crash out and die and I couldn't beat the track. I was I was good enough to beat Queen League. I was good enough to get first on all 4 other courses consistently on night before I was good enough to finish night. Like I could consistently go on
Weird.
standard. I could consistently go on night on standard and get first in courses 1, 2, 3, 4 before I could go on night on beginner and finish it. I just silence was just, and it was very, at first I was very demoralized. I was just like, well, I can't, this is the easiest league on the easiest difficulty and I'm not even close. I guess fuck this game then. But then I was like, I guess I'll try the other league. And I was like, oh, actually, it's fine. Oh, I guess, why don't I try night on standard? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's fine. Um,
Very odd.
I don't know. I just like
don't
couldn't
understand you
my
ever.
turns. I don't like understand the turns in the, or I do understand the turns in this game. I just can't execute them well, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. For me, it was like I my first time Night Cup, standard Falcon, beat it, never went back. So I
Yeah.
don't even like remember the specifics of those tracks anymore because I was just like, okay, that was the first one. For me, it was White Land 1, which is towards the end of the Queen Cup, where there's this one section where there's a bunch of jumps and traps that I kept, and there's like ice on the track, and you go around, and I would try to use the boost, and then I would fuck me up, and I would fly off and die, or I would not use it, and then the cars would like bump me, and I'd lose speed, and I'd get fucked up. And that was the first time when I actually died and had to start over to reattempt that one. Did you
those weren't too bad?
did you ever
for
did you
me.
just play on beginner, or did you try standard?
I mostly played on beginner. I did try standard, but I mostly was playing on beginner because like my experience on night my experience playing around on night kind of told me that like beginner and standard either way, like the difference in what the NPCs are doing to me in beginner and standard is not too bad. The real thing that's going to shut me down is can I even play the track? Expert was just too hard. Like I began expert and I was just like, I need to be playing like perfectly, and I'm just not. I'm nowhere near. I'm slamming into things. I'm crashing. I'm not particularly good at controlling this game to the point where I can play expert. But
I didn't even
beginner and
try it.
standard weren't that different.
Yeah, interesting. Because I never even tried beginner, so I have no frame of reference. I should have just done it once to see.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it is a little harder on standard than it is on beginner to keep up, but not like the difference did just come down to, listen, if I play the track well, I can win on standard. It's not a problem. And if I don't play the track well, I can't play on beginner, or I can't beat it on beginner. And there's not really any in between there. But yeah, on expert, you watch it and it's just like, oh, I don't even know what to do about this. You literally have to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, there is often very little room for error.
Mhm.
And it can be very easy to, if you make one little mistake and hit a wall, that before you know it, you look around and 3 other cars bump you and you're bouncing back and forth like a ping pong
Yeah.
ball, and you just fucking are fucked.
Yeah.
That can happen for sure.
Yeah.
White Land was just the bane of my existence, because I also thought White Land 2 was kind of I don't think it gave me as much trouble, but there's like one jump in there
Yeah.
that you
There-
really need to, like, right around a corner,
Yeah.
and you have to have speed to make it across this big gap. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I found that to be pretty difficult, especially since I was running a slower machine than you with worse acceleration in exchange for the shield. But I did what I found with that jump was it was very, very hard to make it the first time. Like you had to line up exactly right and get your speed. But if you could line up with it properly and get it once, then you get 1 S boost per level, and you can use your S boost on that jump, and it'll just get you over, and you're just fine, and you won't bang into a wall. There's enough straightaway there that it works. So that was my strat on that was like, yeah,
Yes.
sometimes I
yeah.
just lose immediately on the first lap, but once I get through the first lap, the rest of it just folds. So.
Was that? Am I thinking of the same one? Wasn't there also one in the Queen Cup that has a similar like? There's a really big jump like early on or halfway through maybe the lap, and you like just need enough speed. And once I got a boost, the other laps it was fine, but the first time was like, oh my god, I have to make this, and it's intimidating as hell.
Interesting. Yeah, no, there is one on Queen that
forget
that
which
is
one it
like
is.
that, but I never. My only problem that I ever had with that jump was either I would just have my car angled badly and I'd fly off the side, or sometimes I think once I overshot that jump and landed on the opposite. But I don't think I ever didn't make it. Maybe I did at some point, but
Yeah,
I think it was always an angle thing.
There was one that I was like, there's a corner, and if you got bumped or whatever, you just like you needed that full speed to get across. But again, different cars, there's different factors at play, so it's hard to say what was different for each of us. In general, I do feel like the cars are. One thing I like is that they're, in addition to the racers that will change your rank, there's also sort of robot cars that don't actually count in the race.
Mhm.
They're just there to mess with you. But I like that even if you're in first place, it's not boring. There's something you still have to be concerned with no matter where and then sometimes there's even ones that will just blow up if you touch them.
Yeah.
That can be really crazy. The whole system in general is interesting. I didn't really remember that it worked this way. It is almost the way F-Zero 99 is, or the new in the latest Mario Kart World game. They have this new knockout tour mode where if you're not at a certain position at a certain point of the map, you're just eliminated. And that's how it works in F-Zero. If you're like the first lap, you need to be in rank 10th or better or whatever. The next lap, rank 8, then 5, and then finally you have to make the top 3 to even finish the race. Yeah. They don't let you be like, oh, you beat the cup, but you only got like 5th place. No, you better get 3rd or better or you are out of here.
Yeah.
Which, it sounds, intense, but
yeah. I didn't hate that because like I'm okay with saying you need to do well, and if you're not doing well enough at this point, you're not going to get there, so screw off. I think what bothered me more, I'm more used to when I play racing games with these long like whatever things, is that they kind of want you to have a good overall rank, so you do have the ability to say something like, okay, like let's say I'm in the night league, and let's say that I can get first on the first 4 tracks. I need to make 3rd to stay in the race. Well, the fact that I got first several times in a row means that in order to maintain my overall rank, I can get a little bit worse than 3rd. And so maybe if I get first on the first 4 tracks, I can still complete the race with 6th or something on silence. I don't have to get 3rd on the last one as well, because I got better than 3rd on every other one. Something like this. This is this is kind of the mechanic I'm used to for these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so it did kind of bother me here when I was just like, I can't fucking get 3rd on silence. I just can't do it. I can get first on everything else. That's not if you told me you have to get first on everything else or you'll lose silence, I can do it. But I can't get 3rd on silence. And it was just annoying because I was like, just give me some leeway. I've proved myself. Give me some leeway. But no.
In a funny way, for me, that almost makes me feel like I have more leeway because in a lot of these games, like you said, when you're finished, it will go, okay, you got first place in 4 tracks and 3rd place in this one, or I don't, whatever. So like your average is you got silver medal. Like you did really good on these 2 races, bad on this one, and okay on this one. So you're like average or whatever. This game does not care about an average. There is none of that. So in a lot of racing games, I would personally be like, oh, well, if there's a gold trophy or whatever, I am driven to keep attempting this cup until I get the gold trophy. Whereas here I was like, you know what? 3rd place means I did it.
You just got to
I
beat it. Yeah.
yeah, I don't need to go back. So there's almost like a lower minimum to me,
Yeah.
even though technically you're right. You can't actually. You still need to. You can't just finish it lower than that if you
No, I
want.
I hear what you're saying. It's really the difference between like a high roll and a low roll. Like this is kind of the thing that that it kind of comes back to my what I was talking about in Dragon Quest, where I was like, listen, it's like you say, if there's a way for me to fuck up this game, I'm gonna do it. So I just need like I need some ability to say like, listen, man, you can have one really bad thing happen to you as long as you do everything else much better to make up for it. Whereas you're out here like, listen, if I do average on everything and that's the same as doing great on everything, that's easier because then I don't have to do great. I can just do average. And I'm out here like, at least one thing I'm not going to do average. I'm okay with
Mhm.
saying I have to do above average on a bunch of things. I can do that. But at least one thing I'm not going to be average at.
You're
I
like,
need a way around it.
give me one pass per course or for cup or something. Like, give me a get out
Right.
of jail free.
Yeah, give me a way to earn a get. Like I don't even need it to be free, right? Give me a get out of jail pass that I can buy.
Give
But I
me
do. I'm
bail.
gonna be in jail. Yeah, that's gonna happen. You can't just put me in jail and say you're done. I need a way out.
What's one of the funniest and dumbest things about this game is that there is a practice mode, but it doesn't include every track.
Yeah, yeah,
So
dumb.
some of those later tracks that are hard, you'd think, oh well, I can like just
Mhm.
practice it over and over again to figure it
Yeah,
out.
nope.
You can't.
Yeah, yeah.
Why?
No, I mean this might be why I didn't have trouble with that much, or at least that much trouble with Whiteland 1, because before I tried any of the cups, I was like, let me just do practice mode to figure out how to play, and I did absolutely terrible. But which was good that I went on practice mode, right? Because I was like, oh God, I don't know how to play this at all. But I was able to sort of, because I had seen Whiteland before a couple times when I was trying to figure out how to play it, I get there and I'm like, oh, it's this one again. But yes, you get to King and you start being like, oh Jesus, oh no, these are all new.
Yeah.
Never seen it before. Can't go practice it.
What do you think about the fact that of the tracks that are there, several of them are sequels to earlier tracks, and like so you'll have Mute City, and then you'll later do
Hmm.
Mute City 2 and 3, which are actually kind of the same track, but it's like you'll take a
Hmm.
different path that wasn't there before, that's more challenging and trickier. I I I don't mind it, like, it's kinda cool, but part of me does feel like, I don't know, there's only 15 tracks and half of them are like, "You're back here again." Is that sort of disappointing that they
Mm.
couldn't come up with
I
just new ideas for that many?
I I kind of like that idea. I like for me, I do appreciate when you have like collections that are like oh like this is the one desert track and this is the other desert track and this is the or whatever. Um it makes it in some ways that makes the world feel more real. It's not like every planet or
Mm.
whatever the hell is happening here has one racetrack. It's like, oh, we're gonna go back here to play on a racetrack. Oh, but this is the harder league, so we'll go on their harder track.
Mm.
It does like I to me I'm and maybe that's just because I'm used to that sort of thing in a racing game. I'm out here like, yeah, if there was only one Mute City, I'd be like, why is the Mute City track suck? Does everybody suck at racing on Mute City? Oh no, that's just because I was on Mute City 1. If I go to Mute City 3, it's much harder.
Well, see, I needed the story cutscenes to explain this to me. I
Right.
needed them
Yeah,
to go, "Oh, we
exactly.
gotta go back to Mute City, boy." Gotta
Yeah.
be
I'm going back to
hyped.
Mute City, short for Mutant City, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's good to know. Good to point out. I mean,
Yeah, this is why I need the manual.
also when there's like one of my less favorite tracks,
Yes.
Deathwind,
Yeah.
where
I
there's
didn't
wind
it's not
that
that fun.
blows you around. That's like just kind of annoying, and then you're like, "Oh, Deathwind 2, great."
Yeah. No, that is the one problem with that is that if you have a gimmick or a place that sucks, then you might end up with multiples. Yeah, Deathwind, because like Deathwind was just like, oh yes, sometimes your car gets pulled in certain directions, so it's hard to control it. And if you can keep it centered, you get these boosts. So it's just kind of like I have to keep my car on a straight path when the game is actively jostling it to the sides. And the track itself is just a big loop. So it's like there's not it's not interesting. It's just annoying. They were just like,
Yeah.
what if we gave you something boring and not fun or interesting, but we made it hard to control? Would that be
Yeah.
fun? It's not really that fun.
Yeah. Not really. Not really. Another big, I feel like, decision to make in this game is when to pass someone. Because I feel like because hitting someone's car can be so volatile that, and you can just tailspin into a disaster, that there's a lot of times where I'm like, I'm annoyed that I'm catching up to someone because the track is too narrow, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get around them, and I'm going to bump them. It's going to fuck me up. And sometimes I would actually take my finger off the gas because I'm like, I gotta slow down because I don't want to hit that guy. And that's another
Yeah.
decision you got to make, is when's the right time to pass.
Yeah, I generally am very aggressively passing on that, but I do agree with you, but I think it's not something I was consciously aware of because it is something that appears like the decision of when to pass is in basically every racing game, so it was something that I'm just kind of unconsciously doing. Like, is there a space to zip? Like, do I have a space to zip past them? Can I cut that turn? Do I want to be here or here? I'm gonna aggressively go for it if I think there's a space, and that does help with the maybe I knock into him a little bit, but I've got the tanky car thing. So I don't know. But you are right. That is a thing you have to be aware of.
I mean, just generally, we haven't really talked about the sense of speed in this game that I still think is quite good, even all these years later. I mean, I mentioned it in the intro, but this is mode 7, baby. This is for the time. I mean, think about it. Super Nintendo comes out. This is a day one title. This is next to Mario World. You haven't really seen anything like this, and even over on Genesis, like, yeah, Sonic is very impressive. There's a lot of graphically impressive games. There's not really much on Genesis that can do something like this.
Yeah.
The way that it really does, to my mind at least, and eyes, fully, I don't know if trick is the right word, but it feels to me like a real 3D game. It's using all these little background effects, and it's just, I can't really explain mode 7 fully because I don't fully understand it. But it basically just lets you rotate stuff.
Yeah, it lets you it lets you scale two-dimensional images to make it look as though it's 3D because it's changing its scale as you pass it, the way that it would if it were getting closer or farther away. And you can imitate parallax and blah blah blah.
Right.
So it's like pseudo 3D, and it works. It does work. It looks good. The game does look good, and it feels fast as hell.
Yeah, for like I said, considering how old it is and how it helps that the tracks, I think the track design being so twisty and turny is what really makes you feel like, oh my God, I have to stop because I'm going so fast that if I don't, I will blow up. That really makes you feel that sense of speed. The mode 7 thing is funny to me that it's not just a buzzword. They're in the Super Nintendo hardware. When you were developing a game, there were 7 modes. And you were like, do we want mode 2 for this game? No, let's do mode 7. And in marketing, it sounds like this, holy shit, you're fucking going, it's like Mach 7.
Yeah.
It's like you're going light speed. But it's that's where that mode is. It's just
the
7.
advanced mode. Yeah, I mean, it is funny. We talked about this. There was a little bit about this when we did Console Wars on the Patreon, where there was the whole marketing thing about it. I think you brought it up in the intro too, where the Sega guys were like, "Ooh, mode 7, that sounds cool. Do we have that?" And their engineers were like, "No." And the CEOs were like, "Well, tell us something we do have that they don't have. Burst processing. Okay, cool. Yeah, you need burst processing to run fast game. Blast processing. Yeah. Oh, you need blast processing to run fast games. No, actually, that's not what it does. No, who gives a shit? It's blast processing. They don't have it. We're faster. Listen."
Yeah. In hindsight, thinking about all that stuff, maybe it's just because it was a day one game, so it was old news at that point. But it seems like Nintendo could have leaned more into F-Zero specifically. Like, if that came out in 1994, you could have positioned it as, oh, this is the Genesis killer. Like, look what we can fucking do. Holy shit. But they didn't position it that way. And by that time, everyone was like, I don't know. we're moved on from that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There's also like there is a score in this game.
Yes, it sort of matter. It's similar to the thing that I was talking about actually, because the score in this game mostly matters in that if you get enough score, you get an extra life. So there is something to be said for, and I don't know the thresholds on this because I wasn't paying attention, but there is something to be said for if you get first on every course instead of third on every course, you might get an extra try at the last course.
Yeah,
Right.
so normally you start with 3 machines, I think.
Hmm.
And so if you die, you lose one of them and you get to try again 2 more times. But yeah, you can get more. And I have no idea I have no concept of, I mean, I'm looking at the manual now. Yeah, rank 1, you get 900 points. Rank 2, 600. Rank 3, 400. You even get some pity points if you rank below and restart.
Mm.
But you get an even bigger boost if you finish first. So each rank, depending on each lap, I mean,
So each
you'll get
lap.
points
Okay.
for the rank if you're in the top 3 or 4. At the final lap, you do need to place first, second, or third, and you get 2,500 points for first place. You get a new machine at 10, 20, and 30,000 points. And I was
Yeah.
not conscious of what that was, but I did like, as I was playing, every once in a while finishing a lap, and I'd hear a little diddle-diddling, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Oh, I got a machine. Oh, I didn't. Okay, cool. That's nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess let's figure that out. You get 5 laps. If the first 4 you get 900 points and then a 2,500, right? You can do that math. I can do that math, right? That's like 60K.
Okay.
Or not 60, but
Uh,
6K. That's 6K. I'm off by a factor of 10. Yeah, so you should be getting a new machine. If you're first or maybe occasionally second, you should be getting a new machine every 2. That sounds right. That you can
yeah,
have
that
if
sounds
you're
right.
near the top, you have 5 lives on the last level.
And you can only have 5, so you can't
Yeah.
get more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I didn't even remember that. Like, as I was playing, I just heard the little jingle, and I did not know what that was. I was like, did I unlock something? Did I do good? Sound made brain happy, but me no know why. That there's all the sound. I mean, in addition to the music in this game being fantastic, the little bumps and also like the sound of the pit stop energy refills really makes my brain happy. Of the little wheelo 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 wheelo, I feel really good about that. All the turns and stuff that also helps, I think, add to the sense of speed. They did a great job with all that stuff. So end up. Did you did beat all 3 cups on beginner? It sounds like leagues.
I did not beat
Oh, you
beat
never got
King
through
League.
silence. Oh, King, you didn't beat.
Oh no. I did eventually beat beginner.
Knight.
Or not beginner. I did beat Knight on beginner. I did beat Queen, and on King, and on all of these I'm mostly playing on beginner unless I'm going back to try it on standard, because I was just like, the hard part's the course. What I need to do is learn the course. I can turn up the NPCs if I need to, but yeah, I only got to 4 out of 5 on King. I didn't quite get to the last one. And to be honest, I probably could have if I'd put more into it, but it was kind of a busy week. But I did definitely make a lot of progress. Like, if you look at my initial attempts on practice, you're gonna see they're a complete disaster. And I'm not too bad at some of the tracks by the end.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. I figured you had the capacity for this in you. Some of those, there are some other weird little things on the maps we didn't talk about. I mean, the mines, there's some fields where there's so many mines that I'm like, I can't believe I'm not hitting these. This is insane. And of course, the NPCs, again, never hit them. So I'm like,
Right.
you're
yeah.
telling me with all these cars going through, none of you triggered one of those? Come on. Somebody's hitting one of those mines. And then there's the magnets that are really weird that I don't know that I ever fully got the hang of how to avoid them. I think like using LNR is the best method to just like steer away from them, but
yeah, some combination of like you need to start the magnet with your nose pointed away from them and then only use LNR to keep yourself there. I was not good at it.
they could be really weird. And there were a couple times in some courses where I just had to. Usually, I'm going through pit stop and I'm like not slowing down
Yeah.
at all. I'm like getting my top off and keep going. But there was one or two times where my health was so low, I was like, I just got to sit here for a second and hope I can catch back up, or I will just blow up. That's the end for me. I like some of the later courses too, where they play with it more, where it's not just a standard right after the lap marker. There's
Mhm.
one where the pit stop is like before the lap comes, and it's like in like you can't
Yeah.
avoid it, so you can't
That's
really stop
Deathwind.
on it because the cars will crash into you. And then there's one that's like optional. So you like the first time I went through one of the
Mhm.
courses, I turned right and I was like, fuck, I didn't get health because it was left.
Yeah. It's like significantly faster to avoid it. I don't know. Unfortunately, the file sizes on these are pretty big, so I didn't put every single attempt in. So I don't know. I think that might have been King 4 because I did see that, and I'm not sure that I got footage of it or not.
Yeah, it might have been King 4. You don't even have one recording of you doing the king?
I do, but I think I only got to 3 on it.
Well, I don't care. Any other aspect of this game we haven't touched on yet? Like the items, the tracks, the cars, the speed, the handling, the years, the
Um,
mileage.
Probably, but I don't know. I feel like I said my piece. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel pretty good
Maybe.
about it. Well, why don't you say one last piece? Let's give our final thoughts and our IGN ratings for F-Zero.
Is it a game over or a continue? From 1 to 10, we're gonna rate it again. Ratings.
Well,
Yeah. So this game, I do like racing games. I'm not necessarily great at them, but I at least understand what I'm supposed to do and what I'm doing wrong. So, and I do think I have a history of being pretty high on some racing games for this. I did quite like this game. I like futuristic games. I thought the music was good. I thought the speed was exciting. Um, Even though the controls were kind of odd for me, and I had some difficulty picking them up. It did feel like there was a lot of depth to them in terms of like the nuances of what you could be doing. Um, I generally did have a lot of fun getting better at this game and putting in time. I found it a lot easier to spend a lot of time playing this game at once without having to like take breaks or stop. I could easily see myself having like I had some things I had to do where I was like kind of busy this week, but I could have seen myself putting even more time than I did into it easily, even though it's one of those things that's like, yeah, you race it a little bit, you figure out what it's like. Um this would definitely be a continue if I owned it and was a child, right? Like as with all of these things, it's hard to know when I'm gonna actually find time to continue any particular game. But this is the sort of thing that I wouldn't mind getting good at, like figuring out how to actually be good at it instead of bad at it. Um, uh, the the primary issues that I do have with it are that I did find like and this might be a personal thing, but it was a little bit the difficulty was a little bit odd just because of it felt like the fifth course on night was such a spike relative to the other difficult courses. But that being said, that is on practice. I could just like if I owned this game, I would have just done that on practice until I had it and figured it out and would have gotten better at it. Um I think that the beginner difficulty is still probably far too hard. I think that they should allow you maybe even just it's not like the SNES couldn't save, right? Like even if you're just like, oh, these courses you see in King, you've never seen them before. Oh, but now that you've beaten it once or something like that, or now that you've seen it once, it and now it shows up in practice. So now you can practice it and get good at it. That would be
mhm.
nice. So that way you're not just saying like, well, I'm SOL on King 3 or King 4 because I have to get there first. Um, so when all of the difficulty is in the courses, I feel like that's an issue. I'm also I'm also not 100% sure. Some of these courses do feel a little bit like I wish there was more utility to use your S boosts as a catch-up mechanic. Like it can be a little bit. So on the whole, I think this game is great. There are a couple tweaks that I think could be made to make it like work better or be better as something to do, but it is fun to play. It is fun to sink time into, and it is the kind of thing that encourages me to want to be better at it rather than just frustrates me. That's all pretty good. Um, so I do think that I want to rate this game relatively highly. Let's see. Where do I
Getting
even want to
my-
rate it?
Getting my Oscars playoff music ready for this fucking monologue. Let's go.
Listen,
wrap
I
it up.
gotta think my way through here. I gotta think my way through.
Yeah, we're hearing your inner monologue in real time.
Yeah, you are. You are. Yeah, I think it could have used a little bit more. Now that you're saying that, it's making me think more. I think it could have used a little bit more seeing the characters, your Captain Falcons, these guys. So I think I'm probably going to give F-Zero, let's say, an 8.4 out of 10.
Wow, that's very high. Quite a good score.
Yeah, I mean, I did quite like it. I do think that this is a lot of fun to play.
I do think that F-Zero is a lot of fun to play. I am one of those annoying gentlemen who says, Nintendo, where's F-Zero? Why haven't you made an F-Zero game, Nintendo, for us to play? Everyone will love it. And this is where it all started. And I appreciate that. I mean, what this game still is able to do to me physically, right? In the year 2026, when racing games, graphics, controllers, all these things have evolved to such a point to make games as immersive. I mean, you could buy a steering wheel, you could play it in virtual reality, you could literally just feel like you're in a race car at home now. Still, something that is as relatively simple as this gets my adrenaline pumping like few other things, and gets me to do the thing that you make fun of when your mom sits down to play a game in a video game commercial and like literally moving your body on the couch to try to do it. Like, I am incapable of playing an F-Zero game relaxed. This is not a game I can play. Oh, I'm just going to lean back in my chair on the couch, just kind of hang out. I could try. I could start that way, but 20 seconds in, I'm leaning in and I'm like, no, we got to get our head in the game here. We're fucking going. Let's go. And those later tracks that are really hard sometimes, my heart is pumping. I'm like, oh my God. And also I mean, this is probably just something I do in my normal life, but I'll talk out loud to myself. If the videos had sound recording of our voices for the footage, what you would hear is me going, fuck, no, oh fuck, oh come on, oh come on, okay, what? Oh no, come on, just one more lap. Okay, all we got to do here, we did that. Okay, here comes the jump. Okay, don't let this guy pass. So I get into it. It really, like, it sucks me in a way that I think is very fun. I think the biggest flaw of this game that we didn't really address, and I don't know, I'm curious what your take on it is, because you didn't really bring it up at all, and I wonder if that's sort of a mindset thing of the format we're playing these games in versus thinking about them if you were, to buy this at the time as maybe your first game on the Super Nintendo. There really is not that much content in this game. There's only 3 leagues/cups with 15 tracks total, which is okay. It's not a terrible number. It's okay, but it's not a ton. And a lot of them are variations on existing ones. So it kind of doesn't make you feel like there's a lot that's really new you're getting. And only 4 cars to me is like, that's not enough. 4 is, there should like be at least like 6 to really give you something. And for me, I only like one of them. So it's like, okay, it's not, maybe if I played more and got better at them, I could change this, but I don't really feel like it's that fun to, now I'm going to play them all again with this car. There's also, as far as I know, maybe it gives you individual records for each car. That could be true. I'm not sure. But there's not like if there was a little emblem you got showing you beat this cup with all 4 cars. That's what I need as a lizard brain gamer to make me excited about doing it again. Whereas now I'm like, I did all 3 on standard. I don't really I don't care. I'm not a person who cares about, let me beat my time on that lap. I feel I did it. The game's not giving me any incentive that I'm not creating on my own to play them again. And there's no other modes. There are no time. There's not time trials in this game even. Like they give you a record time technically, but there's not like, I don't know, maybe this is just a psychological thing, but even if you're just on the menu, there was a time trials and you could play each track individually to beat a time they give you that's without cars on it, right? That's usually how it goes. That would make me feel like, I'm getting more of my money's worth here. There's like another way to play this game. There's only one way to play this game right now. It's the Grand Prix or you practice, and that's it. The other really big thing, there's no multiplayer in this game. For a racing game to not have a 2-player mode, I think even Rad Racer had a 2-player mode. It feels like an egregious misstep. And I don't know if that's because they had to rush the development or because the graphics were like too fast. It couldn't handle more than 1 car on screen at a time, which is likely true if I had to guess. But like no multiplayer, like I think the difficulty is the only thing that's giving this game longevity. And even when I beat the first track or first cup pretty easily, it took me I'm looking at my time, 23 minutes. The second track I had to do a few times. That was maybe like a total of 45 minutes, and King took me maybe like half an hour. Whereas to a point where, if you're decent at games, I was worried I might not have enough footage this week. I was like, do I have to like replay? I was actually relieved when I died because I was like, oh, well, at least I won't just have like no footage to show. And so that's really the biggest issue with this game to me, is just lack of content. But in terms of the pure mechanics and what you're doing and how it feels when you're racing, it's really, really good. And I think it holds up. I'm not going to go as high as you, but I do really like this game. I think it's really solid. I think I'll give it I'll give it an 8. Partially because I do think for the time, like the graphics, the sense of speed, the pure mechanics of it are strong enough that they make it a really good game and a really fun game to play. I just wish there was more to do in it.
So it sounds like your review is mostly discussion points that we should have talked about earlier, but it's fine.
The show's not over. Discuss.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's no
so
rules
in terms of what you're saying with the content, I do hear what you're saying about like there's not that many. To me, the fact that I get that time trials is a psychological thing. The fact that there are records that pop up to me fulfills the same function. But I do understand what you're saying. To me, the difficulty curve makes up for the lack of content in a way. Like, did you actually play on expert or try it?
I did not try it expert. No.
It seemed to me, and I could be wrong because I was not even close to being able to play an expert, that there is a massive bump in difficulty between standard and expert, in the same way that it seems to me also that there is a massive bump in difficulty between haven't played this game before and beginner. Right. I do feel like for me, the fact that there's such a step up there is one of the downsides of this game, but it feels like there is a lot of room to improve in this game. Like there is a difficulty curve that is incredibly high, and that to me is good because it encourages me to want to get really good at the tracks that there are. But I do see how, you might say, oh, there aren't that many tracks. That's just kind of a difference in philosophy. And the fact that you started off having played some F-Zero before and being more used to using the D-pad to control and kind of knowing what you were getting into means you're skipping some of that curve in terms of like the total amount of playtime it would take to like become good at this game. But I do think that if you were struggling on standard and haven't tried expert yet, I think there might be a lot more to this game if your goal was I want to get first on expert. Um then but of
Mhm.
course, that depends on what you want out of the game. Like if you're like I beat the course, you might not care about beating it perfectly or something like that. Like that again, difference in philosophy. Now, you do make a good point with the no multiplayer. I can't It's harder for me to judge that because this is not a game that I was going to be capable of sitting down in the same room as my friend and playing. But I do think that if I owned this game for the actual physical SNES system, I could imagine knocking it some points, some pretty significant points for not having it. It just didn't occur to me in this context. I'm not going to do it in this context because I can't. But I do think you are right. That is a major failing of the game for sure.
Yeah. Because otherwise, we would have played it for sure. We would have talked about
Right.
what that was
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
did.
yeah. Go ahead.
Mhm. No. I was gonna change topic before you get to retro reviews. So if you have more to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah. Well, in terms of, I do think it's the athlete in you of like wanting to. Oh, I want to improve my time. I want to do this same
hmm
rock climbing wall or whatever over and over again and get better at it. I don't.
hmm
I need an incentive for that. I need either the game has to give me something, a reward of some kind, even just a completion percent saying I did it would get me to want to do
hmm
that. Or if I was with you and you were like, oh, I got the time on this, then maybe I'd be like, oh, I want to try to beat your time or whatever. But just for
yeah,
myself, I don't have that drive in me to want to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
um,
Because like that is a thing for me. Like if I go for one of these maneuvers on here and I say, oh, I could have done that better, but it was still good enough and I'm still in first. Uh to me, I don't think like I am thinking good enough for now, but I'm not thinking like, well then it doesn't matter. I am thinking like, oh, well, I could have done that better, right? And if I do it and I'm like, yes, that I nailed that one, but I'm still like in fifth because I fucked up some early ones, I'm still happy because I nailed that one. Right. I'm like, that was good. I'm glad at least I did that. Whereas
yeah.
like I'm less focused, like I am this is I want to be focused on it as like a long term or rather I should say if the game can make me focus on it as a long term skill thing where I'm building towards being better and better at it, as opposed to just saying, I don't care about that because I'm not going to keep playing this because fuck it. Right. That speaks to the game being good, I think, for me.
I think it goes back, I think, to even our Tetris episode where we had the discussion
hmm
about sort of being more progression minded versus skill minded. That you have an appreciation for just getting better at something, but again, it's like for you, you're sort of coming from a place of less knowledge, and for me, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I get it. I know what it'll feel like to be better at it. I don't like need it.
hmm
I can play something
Yeah. Yeah.
else. Anyway, you wanted to say
Uh,
something else.
Yeah, I was curious if you figured out the trick, or
Oh,
maybe
the
there's a different
boost.
trick, but no, the
Oh
trick
no.
to staying out ahead, because if you hold
Hmm.
down the boost at the beginning, you get a boost,
Yeah.
but then you take off the boost,
Yeah.
so you
That's
kind of
what I
shoot
meant.
out
Sorry.
ahead, but then you fall behind, right?
Yeah. I
There's a
think
trick to not falling behind. I don't know if you figured it out.
I think what I landed on was I would press on the gas like between the second and
Mm.
final beeps, and it would kind of
S-
give you a like you didn't get a full boost, but you didn't get like a dead stop either. It was sort of felt like a middle ground, but I don't know if you had a different method.
I figured that. So when I was playing the game, one thing that I noticed, there's a tracker behind you that tells you where the other cars are. And my instinct from playing games where you shoot at each other is when a guy's behind you, I want to not line up with that because I don't want him to shoot me. But I realized partway through playing, oh, I actually want to line up with it because then he can't pass me. If he
Yeah.
tries to do it, he'll
Yeah.
bump me straight forward. And I took this to the beginning and I realized if you hold the boost, you shoot out ahead. And if you drift just slightly to the side, the guy who would have passed you bumps you forward, and you just stay in first, and nobody passes you.
This is at the beginning of the race as
At
well?
the very beginning of the race, yeah.
Yeah.
You just hold you'll see me do it on like most of the races on my later video. I just hold the boost the whole time. You shoot out, they go to try to pass you, they bump you forward, and you stay ahead. You just start first place
Well,
every race.
That's one way to do it, I guess.
It rules, and you should try it.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
No, I don't like your way. I don't
Okay.
like your way of doing things. I don't respect
Maybe
you.
maybe you'll change your mind when you see it.
I don't think I will. I'm not going to. Yeah. F-Zero. Because there's zero. Those cars did fucking piss me off. There was multiple times where in like the later tracks where a car bumped me right as I was doing a jump or a boost, and it literally hit me off the track and I exploded. And I was so mad.
I've had that absolutely happened to me.
So pissed off. That's when there was times when I started getting desperate, and I was just like, I'm just not using my boost. I'm not risking it because I just keep blowing up. I just have to just make it through. Give me third place. I don't care. I can't do it anymore. Okay. Well, we've given our piece on F-Zero, but other pieces have been given over the years. And we're going to give them their time in a segment that we like to call the Retro Review Corner.
Retro Review Corner.
Got a few reviews here from the early 90s of F-Zero. Let's start with one from one of our favorite magazines, Mean Machines, UK publication. And they were quite positive on it. They said, if you've got a Super Famicom, F-Zero is one of the first games you can buy for it. Factual. Although it only takes you a week or so to complete the game, it's the taking part that's so enjoyable. The taking part that's so enjoyable. Whizzing around the amazing 3D landscapes. Parentheses, there'll never, ever be anything to touch this graphically on the Amiga or Mega Drive. Is made all the more enjoyable because the handling of your car is so realistic. Ignite a turbo on a corner and you'll spend the next few seconds spanging? What kind of British slang is this?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Spanging, it sounds like a slur. Aimlessly the track. What? Desperately attempting to regain control. I don't know. It's simply so good to play that you'll be coming back months later for another go. Must be the definitive console racing game, and I look forward to the inevitable sequel, which weirdly did not come until the N64, so he was waiting for a while. I don't know if this game was like a big hit, big enough to get an N64 sequel, but not big enough for them to rush out F-Zero 2. Which is sort of surprising since it was a launch title. They had plenty of years to come back to it, but they never did. I don't know. Here's another review from Total Magazine, another British publication. And they say, the SNES's Mode 7 is used to spectacular effect, producing a complete and stomach-churningly realistic roadway in gorgeous 3D. The nice thing about it is that you get a lot more freedom of movement than with other racing games. You can actually turn around and drive down the course the wrong way. That's something I feel like I take for granted playing this. I'm like, because you can do that in basically every racing game. But think about like Rad Racer and Outrun and those games. That was not an option. You went forward. Yeah, that was it. It's like, it does make it feel like this is actually a real racetrack, which is pretty good. Now I did have one that I thought was kind of funny that was a bit of more of a negative take on this. This comes from another, sorry, it's another UK publication. Really sorry about this, everybody. This comes from Super Play Gold is the name of this magazine. I don't know what the fuck this is. But they reviewed it a little bit later. I don't know if it came out later in the UK or if they just went back to it after a period of time. But here's what they say. The thing about most console driving games is that the machine has to spend such a lot of time making sure the road is scrolling convincingly towards you that it has precious little memory left for anything else. With the Super Nintendo's Mode 7, however, it's very different. All the programmer has to do is tell the machine what the road looks like and what direction it should be moving in, and the console's custom hardware does the rest. Thus, the rolling road in F-Zero moves incredibly fast and incredibly smoothly. You can't fault it there. It's also incredibly flat, which you might find a bit disappointing, but should come as no surprise. Mode 7 can only spin, scroll, and manipulate flat objects. What is more of a genuine disappointment is that the programmers, obviously so chuffed with their rolling road, and unused to having any memory left to play with after creating one, have failed to put much else into the game. Thus, the courses have few trackside features. And short of a few good jumps, which if you hit them right will take you to other parts of the raceway, the game as a whole has precious little in the way of interesting gameplay elements. Thus, the whole thing feels rather empty, if undeniably impressive looking. F-Zero was great for its time. This is a year later. F-Zero was great for its time, but now, well over a year on, we should be seeing more and better of Super Nintendo driving games. Mode 7 is great, now the rest of the game has to live up to it. So they're basically saying that this is style over substance, that it looks great, but when you get right down to it, the racing itself, like, there's not really much on the tracks that you're doing, which is a different sort of complaint than mine, which was overall content. They're saying the gameplay itself is shallow.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like there might be a stylistic thing in there as well. Like, it is true that if you look at the backgrounds here, like they are like good enough to give you like a characteristic. Oh, this one's in the desert. This one's in the city. This one's whatever. They aren't to the same degree as something like Outrun was. Where, I mean, to be fair, that is on the arcade machines, but like it is also like there's a lot more like specific things that you're going past in that one than there are here.
Yeah. And this is also I forget what I was going to say.
A year later, maybe. So they're saying like it's not even necessarily so much about F-Zero as it is
yeah.
about like the unfulfilled potential of it.
That sounds good. I was going to say
Okay.
this is something that is addressed even in F-Zero on N64. The tracks get much more. They are flat here, and in future games, you're going upside down. You're going up a huge hill. You're going inside of tubes and like spinning around constantly. They get much more crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like for the time, I don't know, isn't like what do you want from a racing game?
Yeah.
Like if it was just regular cars, what else would you be doing?
Yeah, they said it, and it does make perfect sense to me that would be the case. That yes, Mode 7 is specifically only manipulating flat objects. Like it's not actual 3D. We don't have 3D objects. This thing does not have 3D capability, right? I am looking at 2D objects and I am rotating them to simulate 3D. You can't have a curved road unless you're building it out of strange 2D components, and I don't know how well that's going to work with Mode 7. Like, you have jumps, it's fine. I didn't mind the fact that the road is flat too much.
Yeah. No, it's not
understand
something
the
that bothered
limitations,
me,
yeah.
but it is like in hindsight, oh yeah, I mean, they're not wrong. It's flat.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Mode 7, by the way, never really, I mean, it's used in other games, but I wouldn't say anything took more or better advantage of it than F-Zero. I actually think this is kind of the pinnacle of it.
Yeah, I mean that point that they were making that they're like F-Zero was great for the time, but like
What's
this
next?
should be your this should be your starting point. The Super Nintendo has this capability. Are we going to see more with it? I do take that point that a lot of these games, like you kind of look at what was done with these early games and you say, wow, that's pretty good. And then you look at the stuff toward the end of the system's lifespan and you go, oh my God, I can't believe that's even the same system. How did they figure out how to do that on that hardware? And yeah, if F-Zero is your first Mode 7 game, where is your racing game that blows your mind and makes you go, wow, maybe there is an unfulfilled racing game potential for the SNES.
Kind of feels like they just said, no, we did it. That was it.
Yeah.
What do you want? Mode 8? We don't have that. It goes up to 7. Now I'm trying to come up with a Spinal Tap bit.
Yeah, you basically did it.
A couple other little things we didn't mention about this game before we move off it. You're talking about how expert mode very hard. If you beat expert mode, you actually do unlock master mode. There is another difficulty.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so that's even better for the difficulty curve is high.
Yes, which is funny because I feel like the GameCube F-Zero is the one that people has a real reputation for being extremely difficult, much more than this one does. But yeah, it was there. It was challenging from the beginning. And another fun fact, in Japan, Nintendo had this device called the Satellaview, which was an early internet experimentation. You would attach it to your Super Nintendo and you could actually download games from the internet in the 90s. And
wow.
There was a sort of halfway F-Zero sequel on that had unique tracks. Only ever released in Japan. The Satellaview did not get released in America. And I think it wasn't until very recently it was kind of lost media. I think people found like the blueprints for some of those tracks and were actually able to recreate them using ROMs and stuff, so you can maybe find them and play them now unofficially. But there are some Super Nintendo F-Zero tracks that were never re-released after that, which is weird. Fun fact for you.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Might come up on your, final exam, so you might want to pay the fuck attention.
Oh, geez. Oh, no. I don't like it when it's just an aside that was in the episode and not, like, written down somewhere.
Yeah. Tough shit.
Put it in the intro so I can study better.
Tough shit. You should be listening to all the episodes again to study.
I don't know about that.
2 times speed. You'll be done in, like, a week. All right, let's finish out the show by hearing from our peanut gallery. We've got an MMO to dig into.
Massive mail opening.
That's right, it's a massive mail opening. Last week we played Dragon Quest III, and we heard from listener Nick and Wolf, who objected to our skipping Dragon Quest II.
Right.
We defended ourselves, and Nick and Wolf wrote back and actually said, nah, you guys are right.
Hell yeah.
Continuing, I think you can probably skip 4 and go straight to 8, the first major reintroduction of Dragon Quest as Dragon Quest to the West. That can wait until you guys crest over to PS2 territory. Thanks for reading my rant. I understand the time crunch and burnout. I'll create a list of must-play games and send it over to be potentially sprinkled in later seasons. We always appreciate that. So
we love that. We will use it.
We convinced Nick and Wolf that we were right.
Oh, when you're right, you're right. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, that's right. We also have been wondering if we should have some music and a name for our main segment where we discuss the show. The game, I mean, on the show. And Nick and Wolf also suggested that it should be called Press Start.
That's not bad.
Not bad. Might take that under advisement.
Yeah. I was wondering, I was thinking, I wonder if somebody, because I'd commented on it before, I was thinking, like, maybe I'll hear a musical sting today that somebody suggested in the emails. Maybe I'll get a little sneak preview, but...
You could have.
Could have.
I could have done it.
We'll see next time.
I didn't do it. By the way, these comments are coming from our Spotify, which if you listen to the show on Spotify, you can comment on them. And I mean, I can look at them and read them, but I gotta tell you, all the listeners, I'm not checking these like I'm seeing YouTube and emails all the time. So there's a chance I don't see these or read them until later. Just so you know.
Email us.
Right. badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com, which is exactly what other people did recently. One person actually did so not so recently. We decided to look in our spam folder the other week and found multiple emails from real people in there that Gmail decided were spam and that we never read and that I had to apologize for. And I'm doing so now, but we're making up for it here. So we've got an email here from Eric D, who says, "Hello there, baddies. Let me start by saying that I, too, am a refugee from the Yerky Boys." That's our previous podcast, by the way. "But when I discovered the podcast, you were already 1 or 2 books away from wrapping up the series. Took me some time to catch up. Thanks for a great podcast. I read Animorphs as a teen, but dropped off around book 34. I checked synopses and summaries for the rest of the books before, but it was much better to experience them via your podcast. I'm still traumatized by the April Fool's episode, though. More so than by, well, I won't, there's a spoiler here I won't say for the final, one of the later books of Animorphs.
Right.
Says, I got the joke early on, but couldn't bring myself to skip or fast forward. At least I listened to 1.4x speed.
Okay.
So this is just for the Yerky Boys listeners, or if you haven't listened to that podcast, a little tease.
Little tease.
But
This is
Eric,
a good April Fool's Day episode. I'll just say that.
I don't actually
spoilers as to
remember
what.
which one he's referring to because I don't remember doing. I feel like all our episodes were genuine, weren't they? Anyway, he says, I moved on to Bad with Games afterward, and I'm enjoying this podcast too. Emotions, parentheses, temper, never flew that high with the Yerky Boys. I'm not too far from catching up. My next episode is Echo the Dolphin, dated April 1st. And I see there's a part 2. Are you about to reopen some wounds? Can't wait until you get to Warcraft, Heroes of Might and Magic, and the like. Thank you for 2 very entertaining shows and so many amazing parody songs. I'd be interested to hear Jonathan talk a little about his process for the parodies, how he selects the songs, how long it takes to craft the lyrics and record, etc. Keep being bad, Eric D. I swear this is not me writing in under a pseudonym. This is a real person.
You get to talk about your artistic process. Do you think tempers... First of all, I think tempers do flare higher here than they did on Yerky Boys, even though we had some blow-ups on that. Do you think that's because
go ahead.
I'm worse at games than you are at reading Animorphs, or do you think that's because you have more of a temper than I do?
I definitely don't think it's that one.
I don't know about this.
I 100% think it is not that one.
I think that you react more strongly to somebody saying something you like is bad than I do.
Completely disagree. The things that I get mad about you for are almost never you saying something is bad. It's always something else that's insane. I think our biggest temper tantrums on the other podcast was on the Patreon is the problem. If Eric was not listening to the Patreon, then he might not be aware of where all the catastrophes occurred.
I don't know that it was a lot. It was a few.
There was
I
a
think
few.
the worst one though. It was a few. But like, remember, the surgery argument was on the main show.
I think that's the maddest we ever got. It was just that.
Yeah.
I don't think there was much else we really fought about on the Animorphs show proper.
Mm-hmm. That's probably true.
I also don't even know that. I don't know that tempers are that high on this show. Like, I don't think
you got an Apple Watch alert because your temper got so high.
Yeah, but that wasn't. But like, I wasn't like yelling at you. That was like I felt intense and like passionate. But I don't feel like I wouldn't define that emotion as anger. I would call it like I don't know, like feeling like anxiety and like being upset, but not like I was mad at you.
I don't know. Maybe that particular instance, you were just so too overwhelmed to be mad. But I think you get mad at me quite a bit, and I think you yell at me quite a bit.
I get mad at you when we're playing games, I think, more than when we're talking about games. Much more. It's very frustrating trying to get you to do something and you not being able to do it. And like even the Mario 3, I don't think I was mad as much as I was disappointed, as much as that's a cliche. I think it's true. I was just like, I just felt despair at it.
I think you were mad.
But not in the way that I wasn't like angry. Like I was maybe mad of like, yeah, you're dumb. And like, I'm mad that you like didn't play the game, but I wasn't like, I can think of other instances where I was genuinely mad at you. And I don't think those qualify. But I think,
well, we'll let the listeners weigh in.
I think you and I are very different in how we have conversations and process our own emotions. And I think sometimes part of the problem is us projecting the other person how we think we would feel in that situation. It isn't always 1-to-1.
Could easily be. I think we also just have expectations of each other. 100%. I get madder at you being mad and correcting me than I would at somebody else because it's you. 100%. And I think you get madder at me being bad at games than you would somebody else because it's me. I do think that's a thing.
Yeah, well, at a certain point, the kid gloves come off. I'm not gonna fucking baby you forever.
Right. Well, I mean, like, let me try to step into your shoes here. I think that there can be times where, like, I, I don't mind when you get mad at me playing games because I think it's fun to have you be mad at me. So I think that there are times where I will fuck up, and rather than giving me grace, you're like, he enjoys when I get mad at him, and so that just makes you even madder that I'm fucking up, right? As opposed to being like, oh, he's probably just not that good. You're probably like, he's enjoying this. He's happy that I'm like this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think that's what I'm about to say, which I think speaks to that, is that I think I get angrier at your reaction to things and your like what you say and your attitude than anything you actually do in the game. It's you personally that I get mad at, not your abilities.
Yes. Oh no, 100%, because I get far more defensive and angry when you're trying to give me advice because I'm much more likely to take it as John's just saying this because he's mad that I haven't figured out how to do it yet, as opposed to like he's coming at me in good faith trying to help. Whereas a different third party, I might be like, yeah, they're just trying to help. I'm like, John's not trying to help. He's just mad at me.
Yeah. And sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not. And it's up to you to figure out when and where. You need to be more discerning.
For sure.
You've known me long enough. You should know by now. Anyway, as for my amazing parody songs.
Yes.
I do. I don't know if this is obvious or not. I don't think I've ever said this explicitly on the show, but I do always... The first thing I do if I know I'm going to make a song for a game that week is I Google songs that came out the year the game came out. And I pretty much just look at the Billboard Top 100 first and foremost and see if anything sparks an idea. So if you want to try to predict a song in the future, you can go there and try to beat me to the punch if you want.
But that just tells you the pool you're drawing from, right? The real question, right, when you're looking at it, where do you get your ideas from?
Right. That's a great question. Thank you for that. I love that question.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's a lot of times I'll go in with like a concept, like I'll be like, okay, I know I want to do a song about Yoshi. So then I'm looking at every song title and going, is there one where I can just easily slot in, oh, that just rhymes with Yoshi? Bing, boom, you're done. There it is. It's the Yoshi song.
Or like there's a name. What if a Yoshi's name was there? What could Yoshi have? Well, tongue rhymes with gun.
Right. Well, that's the second. That comes next. That's once I got that.
Okay. If the first pass doesn't work.
But sometimes it's not... sometimes, like for the Mario song, for the Mario 64 song, I didn't really know what I was gonna do. And sometimes I might just be like, oh, that's just a song I like. Can I do that? And I'll be like, wall. Oh, there's like walls in that game. And I'll be, oh shit. Wonder wall into walls. Boom. Oh, this is great. This is better than I could have ever imagined. Sometimes they just happen that way. Or like looking at the lyrics of the Red Hot Chili Peppers song for Sonic, and it's about like being with a friend and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's Tails, right? There's Tails. I did initially, I wanted to do, I know it would break my date rule, but I wanted to do, my Tails song was going to be Tails instead of Sail. But here's the other problem that sometimes you run into with a lot of songs when you're trying to select them is a lot of songs are like, you start looking at the lyrics and, oh, they're very repetitive or they're very sparse, or it's just kind of the chorus repeated a bunch of times and there's really not much room to work with. And so those are not really good for parodies. Like you want something that has a good amount of variety and a lot of words to fit in, because otherwise you're just doing the song again and that's boring. So,
you shouldn't have asked him about this.
I love talking. I love this. This is great. Usually
Didn't you break your date rule once though? I thought like one time you did.
I did a
See
couple
if
times.
listeners go back and figure out when it was.
Oh, well, one of them's pretty obvious. I did a Taylor Swift song for the Atari.
All right, yeah.
So, I mean,
That was one, yeah.
yeah, it's not a hard and fast rule. And sometimes I might be like, well, the American release was a year later if I can't find a good song.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I will write and record them like in 2 or 3 days. But sometimes that's the real problem is I usually, depending on the game, I like to finish the game before I start it because I want to make sure, like, if there's something I want to reference, I want it all in my head, which can sometimes mean I'm in a time crunch. But sometimes I also, sometimes I will like have an idea or I'll know I want to do a song. So I'll be like, let me do that, come up with that idea early. So I'm not crunching for that. Or, yeah, I don't know. People love this. There's no song this week, by the way. I didn't do one. Also, sometimes I will go back and like, because we record the show a few days before it comes out, that means I have extra days to fix it. If I like, so sometimes will hear a version where I'm like, oh, I actually sang that line bad. I'll redo it. So, you know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
no, I don't always get the final little behind the scenes for you.
Warcraft Heroes of Might and Magic. We'll get to those eventually.
Don't know how we're going
RTS.
to do Warcraft yet.
Well,
figure it
this is not World of Warcraft. This is Warcraft.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dumbass.
Well, listen.
Fucking noob.
Listen. At some point, we're going to have to figure out what we're doing about covering or not covering MMOs.
World of Warcraft is actually the easiest one because that game still exists and there are, you know, classic vanilla servers that exist and you can play that game more or less the way it was when it debuted. That might be the only one that we actually can still do. I mean, we'd have to pay $10 and sign up for a month and play
I
it.
don't want to do that.
Well, you might have to. That's what the Patreon's for, my friend. We also got another email here from another former Yerky Boys friend.
Love Yerky Boys friends.
Yes, this is from they're using the pseudonym Tumen Ketrin here. But I have it on good authority that this is our old friend Portia Kern. Was it? I think that's who it is. I think it said it in here somewhere. Anyway, here's the email they wrote. Well, first, this was in spam. I'm just going to give everybody the background. They wanted to send us a big Animorphs post, and they sent it. And I cannot read it. I'm not going to read it now. It's huge, and it's about Animorphs, which is not relevant to our current show. So I do not know when we're going to read this or where, if it will be a Patreon or if we're going to have to, someday we'll return to the Yerky Boys for something. But it's here. We have it. We acknowledge this.
Mm-hmm.
Relevant to this show, they wrote, they wrote about this piece that they wrote and how they wrote it for some other podcast initially, and it's like a giant rant. And blah blah blah. But they did have some games they wanted to recommend that they would love to hear us talk about in the future. They said Civ 2 or 5, RimWorld, Valheim, Factorio, FTL, GoldenEye, WWF No Mercy, and Halos 1 through 3 are their recommendations. When we do another Civ, we'll just skip to 5.
Okay.
Maybe 4 though. 4 is the first big one. I think we would do 4 before 5 actually. A lot of these are definitely on our list, but they will be, if we get to them, they will be much later. These are much later games. WWF, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy who plays a lot of wrestling games. Wasn't something I was thinking about, but we should probably add that somewhere.
I was thinking of that when that came up. I was just thinking like, there's no way John put that on the list, but also those are like a franchise of games that I was exposed to in like elementary school through friends. So like they must be important.
Yeah, for sure. So that's something that we can get back to at some point. So anyone can always send us recommendations for games with no promises of when we will cover them, but We appreciate your input to badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com, or you can comment right below if you're on YouTube, or if you're listening on Spotify, there's comments there as well. And we appreciate all of your feedback. What we really appreciate is if you like the show so much, you go over to patreon.com/badwithgames, become a pro gamer by signing up, chat with us in the Discord, listen to our bonus audio episodes every single week. This week, we are going to be talking about the television program The Simpsons. So if you love to laugh, you're going to want to join us over there.
Maybe we'll have a huge argument.
There's always, at any given episode, there's like a 40% chance that will happen. And next week's game on the main show, if you stick with us, we're going to be doing a sort of a quick turnaround for us. Feels like a quick turnaround to me, actually, but I guess it's been 4 months. But we're going back to the point-and-click classic LucasArts series Monkey Island. And we're moving on to number 2, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge.
Wow.
So,
oh, no, he's back.
Well, maybe. I mean, the title could be misleading. Who knows?
Ooh, yeah, it's true. I did spend most of Monkey Island not on Monkey Island. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, I don't even think... I'm not sure if Monkey Island is in Monkey Island 2. Maybe it is. I don't remember. We'll talk about it next week. If you're an adventure game fan, you got something to look forward to. Otherwise, we're done. Gamers out!